皆様こんばんはいかがお過ごしでしょうか。今週も始まりました Cardano Radio。 いやもう6月ですよ。あっという間ですよね。ほんとね、先週かな、もうちょっと日にちが経ちすぎたからあれなんですけどね、ジャパンコミュニティがねX のスペースをやって、はい、チャールズも来てくれてすごく盛り上がったっていうね会がありましたけども、そこでね、フィルムも来てくれて、それでね今日、ラジオをやるというねことになりましたので、ちょっとねいろいろと話していきたいと思います。じゃあ皆さんここでね、アナスタジャラブズのね CEO とファウンダーでありますねフィルを呼んでみたいと思います。Thanks for joining in.
Yeah, thank you, man, for having me.
Yeah. It's a great honor. I know you're a very busy man, but thanks for making time.
Of course.
Yeah. So, to start out with, maybe if you can introduce yourself to the Japanese community. Of course, a lot of people already know you, but that might be great.
Yeah, I'm Philip, the founder of Anastasia Labs and Midgard Labs. We do a lot of R&D work in the Cardano ecosystem. We've worked on basically every protocol under the sun on Cardano. At some point in some capacity, either doing auditing work or development work. We do a lot in the open source and tooling space. A lot of our tools or infrastructure are used by those dApps. And we do a lot on the core infrastructure side. So we work with IO and with CF to sort of develop new features and improve the Cardano blockchain.
Yeah, basically in every X space, I always see you everywhere, so I always wonder when you go to sleep, but a very, very busy man.
Yeah, programming tech has really shifted because of AI. It's like you pretty much just you need something to do while your agent is going and writing code, right?
Yeah.
Most of my job has become administrative stuff and also just like review. Like the things that developers don't like to do before were like write documentation and do review. And now that AI has gotten significantly competent at programming, that's pretty much all developers do. You're just like reviewing AI slop over and over and then whipping it to redo it correctly.
Yeah, true, definitely. I mean, a lot of people making a lot of stuffs right now, and it would not have been possible probably maybe a year ago. I mean, this even from in 2026. I mean, it's amazing how fast. Every single day the AI quality is improving.
Yeah. I was a skeptic. Early on, I was like this. In like 2001, I worked at a fire prevention agency, doing engineering work, and our job was to go through airline accident reports and use AI to identify the cause. And back then, AI was really bad, and so my experience in that job led me to believe that these LLMs are going to be useless forever. And so when ChatGPT first came out and it was quite stupid, I was like, this is useless. Like no one's ever going to code with this. But I was clearly wrong. I was definitely very wrong because very quickly it's gotten, incredibly good.
Yeah, true. I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of AIs out there. Of course, there's Codex, Claude Code, and people talk about OpenClaw, and I mean, you can go on and on with the list. But in your case, let me just ask you a question. Since you were skeptical before, and now you kind of believe that AI can, produce, some kind of good work. How how do you divide the workflow? Like, using different agents. Like, for example, you use Claude Code for this, or like ChatGPT, or use something else for this, or like, I think a lot of Japanese listeners might be curious about that. So if you can fill out something that you can.
Yeah. So first off, if you do non-technical work, it's still really worth using AI heavily. So if you're not a developer, if you're just like doing project management or doing accounting or doing anything that really has like lots of emails and forms, or I would suggest using either Claude with the desktop or the computer usage skill. So like it'll move your mouse and stuff, or Codex with the same skill, and the Google Chrome skill. If you're doing tech, I separate and between those two, like Claude and Codex, the apps, I don't think there's like a huge gap in capabilities that would like it'll depend on like the month of the year, who has the latest release, etc. And who is less compute constrained, because like sometimes you'll just get like a weekend where like one of them will just be like doing very badly, and it's just because a lot of people are using them. And so sometimes it's worth to just like get a small subscription on the other one, so that like if one you find for a few hours it's getting really bad output, you just switch to the other, because it's typically due to usage, and they only have like a fixed amount of compute. And so if a ton of people start using it all at once, it's going to degrade in quality. For front-end work, I use Claude. For everything else, right now, I use Codex. I use GPT 5.5. I feel that just because of the amount of work I do, the GPT subscription, the $200 a month subscription, which is like currently subsidized at like 25x the amount of credits, is just very, very, it's like a huge discount that I could never get anywhere else. And if I do the same thing in Claude, I just burn through the budget. And this is actually interesting in relation to Cardano. Sort of the reason I wanted to bring up this LLM stuff is because, in my perspective, this is the single biggest chance or opportunity that Cardano has had in the market for like the past like 5 or so years. And I really believe this because our whole narrative of Cardano was mission critical security is going to be important for financial instruments on chain. And the whole thing was, the whole pitch was, we did this academically with rigor, and we built secure mission critical systems. And this narrative didn't pay off for years, because people would point to like Aave and Uniswap and be like, well, these protocols have billions of dollars in value in them, and they've never been hacked. Right? So how could Cardano be more secure than perfect, right? You can't be more secure than something that's never been hacked.
True.
But now all of that's changing, right? With the advent of advanced AI, everything we've seen more hacks in the past 6 months on the top DeFi protocols than in the past 4 years, right? We just saw the $200 million hack of Aave, which was a blue chip that people worshipped as like the perfect DeFi app. And so their faith in that, in those applications, which existed for years, is all cracking. Tons of liquidity providers are leaving. The CEO of Open Zeppelin just said, quote, like, I tell all my friends and family not to use DeFi anymore. AI has become too advanced. AI just needs to find one exploit to take user funds, and security engineers need to find everything to protect it.
Wow, that's kind of scary, but I mean that's the real truth behind it right now, with AI advancing so much every single day.
Yeah, and this is good for Cardano because we made a lot of trade-offs to get security, right? Well, other chains specialized in, user features or UX robustness, how snappy the response is when you do trades, etc. We made significant trade-offs towards security, right? We trade off throughput for security. We trade off feature, the number of features we have for security. We trade off finality for security. And all of these trade-offs weren't really justified when the top dApps were doing perfectly fine in other ecosystems with significantly less security. Now, all those protocols are being hacked. And so it turns out security is pretty important, right, with these AI, because before, to do an exploit would take a massive amount of time and a massive amount of domain experience, right? You'd have to you'd have to have worked on the Ethereum node. You have to have worked on, been part of a DeFi protocols team to do the exploit, because you'd have to intimately know all of their code, their infrastructure, etc. Now you don't. Now you can be some rando, and places like North Korea or wherever, right? They can just house huge buildings of people that their job all day is just to prompt an LLM to go find these exploits.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, talked to Aave and stuff too, but this is happening every single day, and every single network right now. And I mean, so far, Cardano did not have that kind of attacks. I mean, last year we had a little thingy in October, but this had nothing to do with the AI part, I think. But what are your take on this? I mean, Cardano, like what you said, compared to the other change, is focusing on the right direction right now. So basically what I think is their security will keep on growing. So the better, whether the AI gets stronger, I think Cardano's security will get stronger as they are. But what do you got, programmers like you, are you guys really focusing more towards the security part right now, or how are you gonna take it?
So I'm focused very much on feature development, which is funny because I said, it's good we focus so much on security. But one of, a lot of what I'm interested in right now is just pushing Cardano to be as competitive as possible with the top L1 chains. But with respect to Cardano security, the reason I feel comfortable doing that is because I know some of the best teams and the most talented engineers are working on security. For instance, the Plutus High Assurance proposal for Blaster, which just passed. Blaster is a tool which mathematically proves the absence of vulnerabilities. So you can take a dApp and you can mathematically prove that dApp has no exploits in it. And this is something that is only available on Cardano. There's no other ecosystem that has an equivalent of Blaster, which I think is very powerful. So yeah, as you pointed out, we did have that chain fork, right? The chain recovered one, which was something that it recovered without manual intervention, right? We didn't have to have everyone turn off and restart their nodes or get everyone in a Discord chat, which is something that's unique to Cardano because of Ouroboros. And we make a lot of we don't get this for free, right? We make a lot of sacrifices for that. The reason it was able to do that is if we did a BFT chain like Solana and we had very high throughput, we wouldn't have been able to do that. We would have had to call everyone, get them in a Discord, all the nodes and stuff. Everyone would have to restart their nodes and resync on some state that we agree on. But because of our consensus model, because it was, it's developed in a way that prioritizes security and decentralization over throughput, it was able to recover. and with the execution layer, with Blaster, right, we're starting to see it now finally be used, because for a long time we had the narrative that formal verification was going to be possible for dApps, but there never was actually a tool to do it. And now Blaster exists and it's usable. And we used it for USDCX, for instance. We're using it for Midgard, for instance. And it's actually mathematically proving, you can mathematically prove this exploit does not exist in this protocol, which is really impressive. And I've used these similar tools on other networks, and they're like 4 years behind. Like there's no equivalent of it. It's similar to Ouroboros in that, like, when Ouroboros came out, it was years ahead of all the other blockchains.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Well, yeah, true. But I don't know, like, for example, then when the hard fork happened, like, let's say, Hydra was here, and like if the throughput, like output, you mentioned, if we had like, throughputs more faster, do you think the risk could have been different, or like we would have been another, in a unique way, we would have saved it either way?
Yeah, so Leos, the nice property about Leos is that Leos is optimistic throughput.
Yeah.
And what this means is if the network goes under attack, what happens is the network reverts from Leos.
Yeah.
So it loses its fast throughput, right? It will revert back to its current model. So say all of us, say we have Leos on Cardano, and then something like the chain fork starts happening that happened last time. What will happen is the throughput of Cardano will go back down. So it will go back down to what it is now, and the network security will retain what it is now. And so what this means is that when everything is normal, we benefit from the high throughput, right? Everything runs in Leos mode. But when the network is experiencing degraded activity, i.e. something's wrong, the throughput goes down and we benefit from the enhanced security.
I see. All right. Well, well, that's good. I mean, I don't know how much of the technical part that, Japanese people can follow through, but I'll try to do the translation writing.
I can try to be less technical going forward.
No, it's good because right, I'm using my head full throttle to understand, because I'm not Mr. Technical, too much on the technical side, because I joined like Cardano maybe 3-4 years ago because I really love the idea of the blockchain stuff, and thanks to the improvement of the AI, I myself wouldn't call myself an engineer or a real developer, because I heavily use AI at the moment, but still I got a lot of learning. So everything you're telling to the Japanese users, I'm actually learning myself too, so I'm very grateful.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited about all the new contributors because of AI. I think it's really allowed people to participate in ways that they couldn't before, and that's a great thing. And I think the best way to use it is, also as a learning tool, as you said, right? Because you're saying you're learning all of these things, and that's the way to go. Like, a lot of people will just use AI. And they'll use AI to try to engage in development or technical stuff. Yeah. But they won't talk to it and ask it what's happening, ask it what it's doing. And they won't use it as a learning tool, which makes it very difficult to effectively contribute,
True. Yeah. I mean, I started out. Actually, I went through all the Midnight Japan tour with Charles when he came in. Was it January and February this year, if I remember correctly?
Yep.
Yeah, and I was listening to everybody on stage talking about everything what's happening, even Laos and everything else they were talking about, and first day I was in Hokkaido. I listened to it and I comprehended a little bit, and basically the third time I kind of started understanding, and I was like, this is really fun, because my main area of, like, not, I wouldn't call it expertise, but I work in the music industry, right? So it's in a way like creating something is similar to programming, right? So I kind of got the hang of it, and I started asking so many questions to AI. And like right now people are talking about the node diversity, and I myself is making a node in full Zig. And I'm still in the preview network, but finally started getting blocks forging. So it's a long ways to go, but I just love it when there's errors and I find bugs and I'm like, why, what's wrong? And if I can't solve it, I ask ChatGPT, or I go back to Claude and I do a research and I go to the next stage. I'm like, I actually did learn something. So that's I want to kind of keep on building my area of that too.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, some of the best developers I know are people in the music industry.
Really?
Like JFE, one of the guys who created Blaster. He is a guitarist in a rock band.
Really?
Yeah. So there is definitely a big overlap. I think it's just to do with, as you said, like it is very similar in terms of how you solve problems, how you need to basically speak a different language, right? Like music, you speak in notes and pitch and all of these things. And programming is about, just speaking to computers, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, I still have a long ways, but whether I go through the preview and pre-prod and mainnet and manage to forge blocks, but I would never call myself engineer. I would say I don't know what I would call myself, but I would just say I love being in Cardano ecosystem. I think I'll stay at that.
Well, I'll call you an engineer. Okay, anyone that thinks critically is an engineer. Engineering is all about problem solving. And even if it doesn't make it to mainnet, it's still there. That's a ton of tooling for the Zig ecosystem. So, someone else might come along and take a ton of that and build some dApp in Zig, right? Because you built out all the primitives. Typically, that's how programming works, is like someone... you make a big body of work and then people look at it and they reference it and they learn from it and they take parts of it to build their own applications.
Yeah, true. I mean, so basically that was a start. And, in my case, I'm still, of course, working on the, Snuggie node. That's like mainly Zig. And, like I said, being new into the ecosystem as a building part. And they had like a Charlie 3 hackathon the other month. And, I was kind of scared because, everybody's like, I don't know, professionals that know what they're doing, but I put my courage out and I actually challenged the hackathon, and I was kind of scared doing the demonstration, but I really had so much fun. That's that too.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really awesome, man.
Yeah. All right. So enough of that, and I think I'll wrap this up for the first week. And I'm thinking, for the next 3 episodes, I want to talk about maybe how you got into Cardano. And, you came to the X spaces that we had from the Japanese community. And I want to ask you questions about, how you feel about the Japanese community and stuff like that. So can we carry this conversation next week again too?
Yes, yeah, of course, yeah.
Alright, so let me just tell the Japanese community. 皆さんありがとうございます。いや、本当にね、僕の話もちょっと多かったですが、フィルに来ていただいてね、本当に楽しい話ができました。またね、皆さん来週お会いしましょう。Alright, we'll see you next week. Thanks for coming in.
来週、はい。
Okay, bye.
Bye.
The community knows DeFi's alive, liquidity streams. Cardano's building real world dreams. ADA, we rise on your wings. From blockchain roots to real world things. DeFi governance, midnight align. Cardano's vision, the future defined. Stability, Indigo's right. USDA common trust decentralized. DEX are trading, pools stay deep, stake Delegate rewards to keep midnight with us, protecting the right. Privacy balanced with laws in sight. Identity verified, freedom intact. Zero knowledge whispers guard every act. From Voltaire's voice to Treasury's